What is on my shelf for today? We're gonna eeny, meeny, miny, moe this thing, and we'll pull this up. What do we have? We have the best of WriteNow. This is featuring Stan Lee, Brian Michael Bendis, Joseph Loeb, Will Eisner, J.M. Straczynski, Mark Miller, Steve Niven, and other superstars, with a cover by Mark Bagley. This is how-tos, interviews, and art from the premier publication about comics writing. Now, without all that out of the way, WriteNow was a magazine that was produced by TwoMorrows Publications, I want to say back in the early 2000s. And the editor was Danny Fingeroth, who had been the editor of the Spider-Man titles back during the 90s. So this is just a compilation book of all of the quote-unquote best of articles that were done in that title. So to start off with, here on page 6, you've got an interview with Brian Michael Bendis talking about Ultimate Spider-Man and saying, when did you decide that you wanted to start working in the comics industry? And Bendis says in 84, 85. Let's see what else we've got here. All right, we've got one with Jeff Loeb talking about his collaborations with Tim Sale as the artist. We got one with the Todd Father talking about Spawn, and then of course Spider-Man #1, the double whammy there. And he's talking about, and I don't know if you know, but he says, a lot of people think that Todd just suddenly started writing one day with Spider-Man #1, but you actually had writing experience. And he said, I was writing, but not nearly at the prolific pace that I was drawing. So this may not be of any interest to you. There's Jeff Johns when he was much, much younger. Might not be of interest to you unless you're thinking about becoming a writer and entering the field and going on to work on these characters that we all know and love. I've actually got a full run of all 20 issues of WriteNow. It was produced, like I said, I want to say in the early 2000s, maybe 2002 to 2005 or something like that. And it's really a lot like a wealth of information. Here's an article with Stan Lee talking about his just imagine Stan Lee, where he created Batman. That had art by Joe Kubert, so that was kind of cool. That was different. And then that was Superman, drawn by John Buscema from the same thing. Just imagine that Stan Lee had created Superman. All right, then you got a nuts and bolts section, and it explains how things go, how you build a script out, how you create that. So it shows the script and the pencil art for Civil War #1 by Steve McNiven. And then there's the finished page, although it's in black and white and not in color. So this gives you an idea of how to script. And honestly, I've got some ideas about stories of my own that I'm working on behind the scenes, but the scripting part is really what gets me. I can write a story, and I have no problem writing that story, but taking it from a story to a script, I can't seem to wrap my head around how to do that. And I know that there's not any one particular script format. There's Marvel, there's the Marvel way of scripting that Stan Lee used to do, and then there's full scripts, and everybody has kind of their own variation in the middle, the middle of that road. But I don't want to shortcut myself with Marvel method, and then at the same time, I just don't know how to break it down. So if anybody out there has written any scripts or is a professional comic writer or anything like that, please reach out to me, because I would love to collaborate. I would love to learn more about this industry and this business that I really love. And it's really my goal to one day be a writer in the industry. I've got plenty of ideas both for IP and for original characters that I've worked on over the years. So, like I said, if you've ever written a comic script, you know, and done it without the straight collaboration of an artist, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get the story down, you know, and I understand that part of that collaboration is finding the right artist for what you need. So I'm not trying to cut the artist out, but I'm just trying to do one simple script from start to finish so that I have an idea of how I can lay that story out. So anyway, that give you an idea. And here's Denny O'Neill's notes for comic writing and editing. So I'm going to go back and reread, maybe not this book today, but I'm going to go back and reread a bunch of it so that I can try to figure out the ins and outs of it from that area. And then we've got my buddy John Ostrander that I have met at the Memphis Library Con last year. And that was a really interesting guy. I really like John. He was super nice. I couldn't be happier to have gotten to speak to him. So to wrap it up, like I said, here's the back cover. It shows a bunch of the different issues that were produced, and it originally came out for 20 bucks, but I think I got it maybe for 15. But it's not the price of how much you pay for it, it's the amount of knowledge and the amount that you can take away from a book like this. So thanks for checking in with me on what's on my bookshelf, and we will catch you in the next video.